guys, welcome to another edition of 3 Questions. As you can see...
Wait, I thought I was asking you the questions today. This is 3 Questions with Allessia Edwards, and today, my guest...
You pointed at me and said Allessia. You're Allessia.
But I am Allessia, but I am saying today I have with me David Edwards, my beloved husband. So, I thought that maybe we should start this with a little bit of rapid fire true and false. 3 questions. Are you ready?
You didn't tell me you were doing that.
I know. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, true or false? My favorite color is green.
Yours?
Yes.
Yes, true.
False. True or false?
It was green at one point.
We've known each other for 24 years. Rapid fire, true or false?
False, 25.
24.
No?
True or false?
1994. What year is it?
1994 is... Yes, but that doesn't count because we would have went to school in the fall of 1994.
It doesn't matter. It's still a new year.
It's not really 25. It's really 24.
1994.
1994. It's true.
The difference between 94 and 2019 is 25. Quarter of a century.
Right, but it's technically been 24 because we started the school in the fall.
Before I saw you in the physical science class, I knew
That was my next question. True or false? We met in algebra class.
False. Physical science. Mrs. Cole.
When it was rapid fire, it could have caught you off guard, just saying. Okay. True or false? The first gift you ever gave me was a ring.
True.
False! You did give me a ring, and that was one of the first gifts. But really, what was the real first gift?
A poem.
A poem. See?
I was thinking gift, not necessarily an expression of my affection. Anyways.
Okay. So, we've been together how long?
Married.
I didn't ask for marriage.
Together.
Over 20 years.
Over 20 years, yes.
We've known each other longer than we haven't. Wait, how's that work?
I don't know.
I don't either. We've known each other in years longer than we haven't known each other? Is that how that works?
We've known each other longer than before we knew each other.
Okay, great. But we've been married 18 and a half years now.
Incorrect.
What?
17 and a half. Our 18th.
I was just ahead of
Our 18th anniversary is coming up.
He got me. You're right. Okay. So, I would say from the time that we were teenagers, we've always kind of went after more of God. Like, we've just been students of Revival. You went to Brownsville. Technically, we were both part of the Brownsville movement, and now we're part of the Bethel culture, Bethel movement. You have studied Revival history for over 20 years, and we teach at BASM and around the region, Revival history, correct?
What's
BASM is Bethel Atlanta School of Supernatural Ministry.
BASSM.
Yes. And we're often known as revivalists. My question number 1 to you is, what is a revivalist? And when you use the term revival, what does that mean?
Well, typically when someone's talking about a revivalist, they're talking about someone who is known as a leader of a revival movement. Like John G. Lake saw God do amazing things. He's considered a revivalist. Smith Wigglesworth, Duncan Campbell was the leader of the Hebridean revival. John Kilpatrick, John Arnott, Randy Clark. So different people come to mind when you're talking about revivalists. Usually it's those who fathered or mothered a movement in our generation. And if you go even further back, like the Great Awakenings, John Wesley, Charles Wesley, George Whitefield are kind of known as revivalists. Now, when I say the word revivalist, I want to take the momentum of everything they did in their generation and kind of ramp it up a little bit. So, the term revival for me isn't a series of neat meetings. It's not, it can be that, but it's much bigger, it's much broader and more inclusive than that. It's not just a series of awesome meetings. It's heaven's intent behind the meetings, if you will. If you look back at different revivals in church history, each one of those revivals did something to change culture and society and to drive it forward into the plans and purposes of God. So when I say revival, I mean reviving creation itself to the original design and intention of God. The word cosmos means a divinely intended order or divinely intended plan. So if you go back to the very beginning, you have Father, Son, and Spirit. You have a heavenly family, and then us as his sons and daughters were added to that family. And then the decision was made in the garden to kind of go a different route, to try to look for fulfillment and longing outside of the family. And that journey that Adam and Eve took outside of the family, Jesus came and made a way for the sons and daughters of God to return to the family. You have Father loving Son, Son loving bride, bride loving Spirit, Spirit loving Father. And so revival is anywhere in creation when people recognize the sonship of Jesus, then they can see the Father. And when they see the Father, then they can be, through Jesus, restored to the family. So all the cosmos is all creation being revived and restored and returned and realizing their identity as sons and daughters of God. Anything where you have that happening, where people are awakening to their identities and discovering their place at the family table, for me, that's revival.
Well, I think that we got a lot of our language about family from our Papa Leif.
Yes. Hey, Leif, thanks for letting us use your studio. Hey, check this door out.
This is how we get sidetracked really fast. Okay, back to questions.
Yes.
Great.
The door moves, though. It's cool.
So, in 2016, we were here and spending time with Leif, and he gave you a prophetic word. And in that word, he just said to you, you are more than a revivalist. And I think that's a lot. That is kind of one of the moments where Kingdom Family really got unlocked to you. But I want to hear from you. What did that prophetic word do for you? What did it unlock? Because I feel like something changed in that moment.
So when Leif first looked at me and said, "You're more than a revivalist," to be honest, the first thing it did was it unnerved me. It was unsettling. I'm like, I'm known for being a revivalist. I kind of like that moniker, that title. Like, it's not something that you throw around. It's in order for people to recognize you as a revivalist. I mean, that's a great honor. That means God is with you. God's doing awesome and amazing things through your life, so much so that they begin to recognize it. And being recognized as that, I realized like part of my identity was coming from that. And when he said you're more than a revivalist, it was like heaven saying, "Hey Dave, come up here, come a step higher. See what's behind door number 2 in your call, in your identity, and in your purpose, and in your life." And so being more than a revivalist, that was kind of like the opportunity for me to enter a season of learning from Papa Leif and discover what it was like to be a son to Papa Leif. And then in being a son to Papa Leif, all of a sudden, you and I, even as sons and daughters, found ourselves as beginning to mother and father, different people and churches and groups in the southeast region. And so, like, if all of creation is being revived to the original plans and intention of God, and you see those blueprints, what will it look like if you take those blueprints and begin to build those things in the earth? And the only way you can effectively do that is if you come with the heart of family as a mother and father to the generation. So by him saying you're more than a revivalist, I didn't, banish my history as being a revivalist, but it was like, I'm this on fire son, we're seeing signs, wonders, and miracles, yeah. And that does build culture and kingdom in itself, but it was the transition upwards into more of a mothering and fathering role.
Next question. Question number 3. Part of our assignment is helping women find their voice. When we talk about Kingdom Family, we talk about the whole unit, mothers, fathers, sons, and daughters. Question number 3, take 500. So part of our assignment is helping raise the voice of matriarchs, mothers, women. And part of that, I believe, comes from men recognizing the women around them and calling them up and standing beside them. What do you think that looks like? And why is it important for this next move of God?
So if you look at creation, right there at the very beginning, you have male, female, mother, father, matriarch, and patriarch mentioned together in the same breath. So you got to realize in even the way of like Hebrew storytelling and like how numbers are counted and stuff like that, it was never essentially this whole linear like approach to the scripture that what a lot of times have in Western culture. So Adam was created first, and then Eve. You know, if you fast forward to the New Testament, you have Paul illustrating that point. And the reason he was doing that is because in Greek culture, there was the idea that the first sex created was a female sex, not the male sex. And so what Paul was doing there was saying, no, like technically, it was Adam was created and then Eve was created. But when we look at that through the lens of Western Christianity, we think that what Paul is saying is that man was created here and ladies were created here. So we take that grid and then we use this as a way to read Genesis. And we think that what is happening in Genesis is Adam's created here and then ladies are created here. And this lady who couldn't keep her stuff together caused this man up here to fall. And people make jokes about it all the time. I see jokes on Facebook about it of people who dearly love their wives, but what they don't realize is by using that kind of speech, you're disempowering the matriarch inside of the lady. And so I've even seen denominations to where the man always has to have the step up. Well, the word matriarch is a very powerful term. You have a matriarch and a patriarch, you know, female and male, then they're co-created, they're equal. It says in Genesis, let us make man and woman in our own image. It says male and female, he created them. Why? Because they're perfectly equal and they perfectly fit together, like puzzle pieces, literally. So you see this co-creation followed by a co-reigning even in the garden. And the commission went forth to Adam and Eve to fill the earth, to subdue it, and to transform it into the image, into the pattern of God. And that image and pattern that was found there was the pattern of family. So if we don't recognize the call that is inside of a woman and the fact that women are powerful, that they're queens on the inside, that they're co-created with us, then we miss out on valuing them the way that heaven values them. If I'm a patriarch and she's a matriarch, then the beauty of God can be seen in our offspring, can be seen in the things that we, through the lens of our lives, that heaven shines through that. And so we're created to be powerful, and that doesn't pull men down. Men can pull ladies up, and then ladies can look at men as powerful as well. So there's not this teeter-totter or this seesaw effect of who's more powerful, who's running the show. We're created differently. As a man, I can do things differently than my wife, and she doesn't have to try to do the things that I do, because then she was to be stepping outside of what the beauty of that she's created to do. In the like manner, I'm not going to jump in your shoes and try to do things that you're created to do. So we're both individuals, but we bring those strengths together to create something beautiful.
That's really good. Really good. I'd like to talk about that a little bit more, but maybe that'll be on another video. But I want to know, Dave, what do you have up your sleeve in this season? What are you working on? Yes, what's up your sleeve? And what kind of resources do we have available for people? And how can they invite us?
All right. First thing I'm going to do is go to the car and get our resources out so you can see it. Back from the car.
What's on the radar for 2019?
2019 feels really good. We got some connections down on the Gulf Coast of Florida that we're looking at expanding. We hope to do a school of Revivalist down there pretty soon. And some different things in the region. We want to do a school of heavenly encounters coming again. We're talking to a couple of people about that, so stay tuned for some of our events.
If you would like to invite us to minister at your church or conference, you can also do that on revivalism.net. And what else do we have?
This is going to be a whole bunch of cuts right here.
We have our YouTube page, which is...
What you're watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video. Our resources, so check this out. This is kind of like a 1-2 punch, really go together. So, call for Revivalist and Revivals and Revivalists with David and Allessia Edwards. So the call for Revivalist is really about living that revivalist lifestyle. I go into a lot of stuff talking about, the culture of heaven on earth, and who a revivalist is, and the kind of impact that you can have as a revivalist in your generation. Couple that with Revivalist and Revivalist. This is the manual for our School of Revivalist and the class that we teach at Bethel Atlanta School of Supernatural Ministry. But it's a survey of the matriarchs, patriarchs, saints, mystics, the Great Awakenings, and a lot more, so check it out. Both of these resources are available through our website, revivalism.net. They're also available on amazon.com and booksellers worldwide. So if your favorite place to buy books is Barnes & Noble or Books A Million, it's available there as well. Go check it out.
Thank you for your time today. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Just him. We'll see him next time on his next episode of 3 Questions.
Yes, but Allessia could be interviewing one of her friends, and I might not even be there. Whoa. Cue the music.